To order, we do want to notice the absence of board member Willis, but we do have a quorum, so I'm going to go ahead and ask for an approval of the agenda as it was published.
So moved.
I have a motion from board member Naeem.
I second.
I have a second from board member Donald. Any questions or comments on the dais? Public comments or questions on the motion on the floor? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Let's go ahead and say our Pledge of Allegiance for this meeting, and then we'll have that done. Since you're freshly back in country, would you like to lead us in the pledge, Board Member Polo?
Thank you. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, ma'am. All right, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as it was published?
So moved.
I have a motion from Naeem.
I second.
Second from Donald. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. That's going to move us to our public hearing and ordinance, which is a quasi-judicial. We are entering a quasi-judicial procedure. This means the commission, or the board, will stop being a legislative board and will become a judicial board, which obviously means that we have to follow certain rules and adhere to a different standard of decision-making. The primary rule must follow concerns testimony, and the substantial and competent evidence standard must be met when the judicial board makes a decision. The standard states the following, and I quote, "All public testimony will be taken under oath. Everyone testifying will be subject to cross-examination. All documents and exhibits shall be entered in evidence. Giving of opinion testimony is limited to experts. Closing arguments will be limited to the evidence of record." Mr. Attorney, would you please read into the record the resolution?
Happy to do so, Mr. Mayor. This is resolution number CA 2024-01, a resolution of the Historic Architectural Review Board of the City of Newberry, Florida, for approval of a certificate of appropriateness authorized under Section 11.11 of the City of Newberry Land Development Regulations for the design of the Newberry City Hall and related site improvements on land which is within the historic district located at 25440 West Newberry Road. Tax parcel number is 02174-000-000, repealing all resolutions in conflict, providing an effective date. Appropriate motion is to pass the resolution number CA 2024-01 upon its reading by title only at the appropriate time.
Thank you, sir. While you're up, would you go ahead and swear in applicant, staff, and anyone wishing to participate and speak?
Yes, sir. If you anticipate speaking on this issue this evening, or actually any of our quasi-judicial, we have another one set for later in the agenda. If you stand up and raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
All witnesses have been sworn, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
Appreciate you doing double duty. Now I need to disclose any ex parte communication and whether any member physically inspected the property, ex parte communication, or any conversation or transmission of information that may have bearing or influence on any voting member's decision. Ms. Kathy? Do you have any ex parte? No? Ms. Lillian? No? No? Mr.?
I mean, we're in City Hall.
We're in City Hall. We have, yes. Yeah. I'm a non-voting chair, but I have nothing as well. I'm going to go ahead and explain the order of presentations that we're going to follow for the quasi-judicial items tonight. We're going to hear with the staff overview first, and the applicant has the opportunity to make a presentation, no time limit. And staff can make a report and a recommendation, also with no time limit. Nobody has contacted me wishing to claim a third-party intervener status. That's going to move us to public comment. Any members of the public wishing to speak to this agenda item have 3 minutes to do so. Then the applicant can cross-examine, staff can cross-examine, members decision-making body through the chair can ask questions of the staff, the applicant or any of the participants, and we'll hear final arguments. Then the attorney will advise them the decision-making body is applicable law and factual findings that must be made to approve or deny the application. Then we'll deliberate the application. After deliberation, the motion will be made to approve conditions, continue, or deny. John Paul, take it away.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. For the record, John Paul Perez, Planning and Economic Development Department. The request before you tonight is a certificate of appropriateness for the Historical Architectural Review Board to approve for the design of the new City Hall. They'll be located just north of this building. The HARB hasn't experienced this yet, but planning will be introducing all of our items with the title and then the recommended motion. Then we'll get into the presentation. So we are recommending approval of this. And this is a location of the subject property in the historic district. And here's an aerial image showing the subject property. The orange box on the top left of the property is where the building will be sited. And this is the proposed site plan that will be considered by the Planning and Zoning Board after this meeting concludes. And what we're here tonight for is the elevations, the design of the building itself. And so this is the north elevation. This is the elevation that will be facing First Avenue. This is the south elevation. This, as if we were looking from this building northward, that's what elevation we're looking at here. And the west elevation, this will be from 255th, looking at the building. This is that elevation, or from the church. And then the east elevation, this would be looking from the cold storage building, or 254th, at that elevation. All right, and not many details, but the design style is a Mediterranean revival for the structure that's being proposed. And so here's just some other examples that show a lot of the key elements between those two styles being present here. Some other structures, these are significant structures in the Mediterranean revival world of architecture. And we do find the request consistent with the comprehensive plan, land development regulations, as well as the criteria for the historic district, and we are recommending approval. That completes my presentation.
John Paul, do you have a picture of the actual, what the building will look like? Can we?
I don't have an elevation, or not an elevation, but a rendering of it.
Yeah.
No, I don't, unfortunately. I'm so
Do you have
sorry.
the ability to pull that up real quick and show, because I think that's what the
Yeah, that's what
board is going to want to look at. I get the Mediterranean stuff, but knowing what it actually looks like, that helps to know if it's
Gotcha.
appropriate for the historic district.
Okay.
Do we have, we got a lot of computers back there. Do we have it on file anywhere? No?
I would have no idea.
No? No?
If we do, I mean, I can get it.
I can pull it off of
email it in
Facebook.
If we want to postpone this.
Can you get it on Facebook?
Well, I posted it on Facebook
All right,
a while back.
on your mail
Oh, here we go.
page or your?
Yeah, but I'm gonna have to like scroll so far. Do you have it?
I got it.
I think that, I mean, that's at the end of the day, that's from First Avenue.
Right, and this would be the entrance of the building.
But I think, and I know we're in a quasi judicial, but seeing the rock work, seeing how it blends in with the municipal building, I think that's what we need to order in order to get to a certificate of appropriateness, that this does blend in with our historic downtown. I think the Mediterranean pictures may have taken us a little off
Yeah,
track from where we need to be right now.
Okay.
yeah.
I post too much, man. I'm sorry.
Was it in that
I'm
mark?
searching it.
What month
you know, I
I
can't remember. Let me see. And I don't know, even if we can find it, I don't know how we can get it to every board member. Do those computers have access to?
One of us.
These
Social-
computers are isolated.
They're isolated. There we go. Ms. Uma to the rescue. It's a photo.
We have presentations loaded from previous week also.
Here it is. It's a
There we go.
video.
There we go. It is a,
It's a 3D video.
okay. So, can you email that? Like download that and email it to Missy back there?
I'm going to approach the dais with a Facebook post of rendering, an animated rendering of the building.
And I think Naeem is emailing it back. No, I've seen it. It's in,
Oh, yeah, that's the video I'm sending right now.
yeah. Yeah, go ahead and email that because it'd be good to put it in the
To
record.
Missy.
We apologize for those who, you can't get email back there.
Who can I send it to?
Well, there's no email back there. That's a dead. Mike is seeing if he can.
19.
This was posted, what was the date that it was posted? Because I'm sure that,
August 6, 2023.
so it would have been the commission meeting just previous to August 6th.
What do we think of the library downtown?
Can you project it?
Do you have Apple Pay?
Does that?
This isn't your own features on that list.
Seems like I've seen it, but just in case.
One of my questions was going to be about,
Right.
the efficacy of having space to do a mural representative of.
Well, there is on that.
And there is on there. I was
Yeah.
like, that just answered my question.
It's a great video.
I'm gonna cross it off.
Yeah.
Do you remember that we had a lot of trouble with getting the mason, when they did the first run of the Lime Rock?
Yeah.
It was not up to standard, so then they got another local mason
Yeah.
to do it. I don't remember all that, but it was really, and it did not look,
Maybe that I haven't seen.
it didn't match up to the municipal. bid.
Yeah.
It was problematic.
We're having to do that for the Perkins House at Dudley Farm, and there's only 2 rock masons that can deal with that.
Right.
Sandstone, lime rock, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I'm showing Donald's thinking.
Yeah, we have members of the public here. It'd be nice for them to see. Yeah, yeah. It's a ooh moment. Ooh, yeah. A good ooh moment, not a bad ooh.
So this is that side street.
Is that because how you fit through the
Yeah, it's just that patience of sitting there.
Catch up.
Yeah.
Downtown needs to catch
Yeah.
up.
Looking like a
I
good one.
want to change our
artistry.
buildings.
Yes.
All right, Mr. Manager.
Mr. Chair,
Everybody knows.
our computer system back here is isolated from everything so
Okay.
that it protects it from, viruses and all that sort of stuff. So we have plenty of documentation, but I do not have any way of transferring it from where it's stored
Right.
on the city's networks over to this computer. We don't have anybody in the room that has that.
Is this a pressing matter? Do we need this? Is this going to slow it? I know we're gearing up to do this summer. So do we need this like now? Do we have to go based on the Facebook
I think
or
we can postpone this.
to the next?
I think we have no choice. I agree with you that this board considering a certificate of appropriateness, it is imperative that they see it as close to what it's going to look like on the ground and not interpret construction plans.
Okay. All right. So if it's not going to hold up, then
I don't want to jump into the other meeting, but we can scratch that from the agenda on the next
yeah.
meeting.
But in a quasi, we're just going to go all the way down and make a motion to table to the next meeting. Okay. So do I have a motion to table this until the next meeting? I have a motion from Naeem, second from Ms. Kathy. Any comments, questions, motion on the floor from the dais?
Just want to make
John Paul?
yes, just so as part of the record, next meeting is on July 1st, and that'll be at 6 p.m., so it's time, date certain.
Okay.
Thank you.
July 1st, and that'd be good. Maybe we'll have Board Member Willis here as well. Okay. Any public comments or questions on the motion on the floor, which is to table this item until, hang on one second. Oh, no. Table this item until we can get the full presentation. Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Let's go, let's just hold topic for member discussion until the next meeting. That sound good?
Yep.
All right, then Historic Architectural Review Board is adjourned, and we are going to call into order the Planning and Zoning Board of Monday, June 3rd, and we'll begin with an approval of the agenda as it was published. I got a motion from Naeem, second from Ms. Molina. Any comments or questions on the motion on the floor from the dais? Public comments or questions, which is just to open up the next meeting. Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. We've already said our Pledge of Allegiance in the last meeting, so I'll have a motion to approve the consent agenda as it was published.
Is this can we change the quasi judicial on what we were just talking about on this one?
So, John Paul, the question is if,
Right, since we already moved
since we
it.
don't have the appropriate, these are two different.
They're separate items, they're moving separately, they're related to each other, but if you approve the site plan tonight, it's not rendered
Has nothing to-
invalid because the certificate of appropriateness was not approved.
Certificate of
So-
appropriateness really is, it looks and fits the feel of the historic district. This is,
I just want to make sure we didn't need to amend the motion
That's
on
a
the
good
agenda.
question.
Thank you.
okay, so any comments or questions on the motion on the floor, which is just to approve the agenda from the public? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
It's me? No, I don't know what that was.
Motion passes. I had a motion properly seconded to approve the agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. And, oh, I'm sorry, that was for the consent agenda, not to, and now I do need to read the quasi judicial over again. We have people who have entered the room, so I'm going to read this again. At this point, we're going to be entering a quasi judicial procedure. This means that the board will stop being a legislative body and will become a judicial board. That means we have to follow certain rules and adhere to a different standard of decision making. The primary rule must follow concerns testimony and substantial and competent evidence standard must be met when the judicial board makes a decision. This standard states the following, and I quote, all public testimony will be taken under oath. Everyone testifying will be subject to cross-examination. All documents and exhibits shall be entered into evidence. Giving of opinion testimony is limited to experts. Closing arguments will be limited to the evidence of record. Mr. Attorney, would you please read Resolution 2024-19 into the record for us?
Happy to do so. This is a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Newberry, Florida, serving as Board of Adjustment, approving the application for site and development plan to construct a 15,000 square feet office use and related site improvements in a public facility pursuant to Section 14.12 of the City of Newberry Land Development Regulations on lands described herein consisting of approximately 1.8 acres living within the corporate limits of the City of Newberry, Florida, or lying within the corporate limits of the City of Newberry, Florida, repealing resolutions in conflict, providing an effective date. Appropriate motion is to pass Resolution 2024-19 upon its reading by title only.
Thank you, sir. Would you also go ahead and swear in? Anybody new that came in need to be sworn in?
Anybody that,
participate in this meeting?
if you'll stand up and raise your right hand, please. Do you swear or affirm to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth? All witnesses have been sworn.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, ex parte, one more time, Ms. Kathy?
Nope.
Nope.
No.
Non-voting, I don't have anything either. I'm going to explain the order of presentations we will follow for every quasi-judicial item before us tonight. We're going to hear from the staff with the overview, then we'll have the applicant make a presentation with no time limit. Then we'll hear the staff report and recommendation, also with no time limit. Nobody has contacted me wishing to claim a third-party intervener status. That's going to move us to public comment. Any members of the public wishing to speak to this agenda item have 3 minutes to do so. Then we'll have the applicant cross-examine. Staff can cross-examine. Members of the decision-making body through the chair can ask questions of the applicant, staff, or any participant. Then we'll hear final arguments, and the attorney will advise the decision-making body as applicable law and the factual findings must be made to approve or deny the application. Then we'll enter into deliberations. If there are no deliberations, we'll have a motion to approve with conditions, continue or deny. John Paul, start us off again.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
We'll get through this one, I promise.
Awesome. So just for the record, John Paul Perez, Planning and Economic Development Department. The request before you tonight is the Newberry City Hall site plan. This is Resolution 2410. We are recommending, 19. We are recommending approval of the site plan. The site plan is for 15,000 square feet of office and related site improvements. The applicant is Newberry. CHW prepared the plans and Monarch prepared the architectural plans. This is from the last presentation, just showing the location of the property. On this one, the 2 orange boxes are where the majority of the work is being done on the site. The blue or cyan box is the cold storage. There are some related improvements that are happening on that site, so I wanted to point those out as well. They are also a participant in this application because some of the improvements do affect access to their property as well as some sidewalks and whatnot. So this is just a view of the property, looking at it from the intersection of First Ave and 255th. Sorry, thank you. And this is a site plan. We're going to get into a little bit closer details on this. First with the actual siting of the building and the main parking area where folks will come to pay their bills, visit the city hall, etc. And then the tertiary stuff on the east side of the site, which will be like a redesign of the parking and integration with the cold storage site. So here is the building, and the yellow is the footprint of that building. The blue box is underground storage tank for stormwater.
Oh.
So yeah, similar to the one that was installed in Bev's. And the red box at the bottom is where the dumpster is going to be located. So that'll be now out of sight and out of mind, hopefully, as well. So it'll be nice and screened and protected. Major change to the area. It satisfies all the requirements of the site plan criteria, and staff is recommending approval of it. Here is the cold storage site, and here, again, following the green dashed line is the sidewalk around the site. Here, it goes into the site and across. This is intended to be like a public sidewalk, so there are portions of it that will ask for a sidewalk easement for, or an access easement. And here you can see, as part of the ingress and egress to the site as well, to City Hall. Here at the bottom right, you can see where it's linking in, and here on the bottom left, you can see where it links into the main site, and also goes into what is now like the extra parking for 1908 farmhouse. Yeah. These are the areas that will require some form of easement for a cold storage site, so sidewalk or cross access, however we decide to cross that path. And here's the rest of that parking lot adjacent to the municipal building. And the parking here has increased by 2 spaces. So there's additional parking here that'll be available that's not there today. Here you can see also some of the improvements on 254th that are planned. I think those might be subject to redesign, I'm not sure. But again, just the site plan. Here just showing its connection to 254th and how it'll integrate and be more of a comprehensive campus type of
John Paul, can you orient the board as you move through these of where Newberry Road is first so that they can kind of understand?
This is the
There's a lot of blueprints.
Yeah, sorry.
We're looking at.
So here, north is up, and every drawing you've seen up until this one, north has been up. And this one, north is right. So Newberry Road would be on the left. Yep.
This is Newberry Road right here.
Yep.
This is First Street.
First Avenue will be on your right-hand side, yep.
Is over there.
Yes, sir.
So the road that we come in to the parking lot normally, right?
Yeah.
And then the 254th ladder road will also have on-street parking on it.
Yes, sir.
As well. Okay.
Yes, sir. Those blue dots represent parking spaces. And one thing I forgot to mention here, the orientation of this parking next to the municipal building, the direction has changed. Instead of it going north and having the 45-degree parking spots or 30-degree parking spots, they'll be headed south. So,
and part of that is to do with the two-way pairs. We anticipate people are going to be heading this way for the nighttime events and turn in. So if you're coming this way, you'll turn in, and then you'll want to be able to park pointing that way. And we've worked really well with the cold storage people to try to make sure that that spot and what we're trying to do all kind of blends together with the downtown park as well for all that traffic flow.
Definitely, yep,
Yeah.
and highlighted it perfectly. There's a lot of harmony between the public and the overall downtown area. Excellent. All right. Just going through the elevations, which you're familiar with. These are the criteria for site and development plan as staff goes through and reviews them. No deficiencies here. Everything has been satisfied by the city, and we did find the request consistent with the comprehensive plan and land development regulations. And again, we are recommending, the board recommend approval to the Board of Adjustment. And if recommended for approval tonight or moved from this board tonight, the intended hearing date would be June 24th for Board of Adjustment. That completes my presentation. I'm available for any questions. Randall Olney with CHW is also here. He's the engineer of record to answer any questions as well. Thank you.
Presentation or just here to answer questions?
Just here to answer questions, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, all right. Then that's going to move us to public comment. Any members of the public wishing to speak to the site plan for the new city hall, you have 3 minutes to do so. If you have any questions, I know that was a lot of technical blueprints, so you still may not exactly know how things are going. But we're going to get that video because the video just takes you right through and it's beautiful. Okay, no public comment. Then did you hear anything you want to cross-examine?
Yes, sir.
No? Okay. You're not going to cross-examine yourself. So, members of the decision-making body, questions? Ms. Parker.
I have a question. Is this going to impede or change Berry Park at all? Is it coming onto the property and cutting into it?
Berry Park across the road.
Yeah, on the other side of it.
Well, when 254th, you said it's subject to change, but when we add the parking and all of that, is that going to cut into Berry Park right there?
No.
No?
No.
Okay.
No, the only, This is strictly for within the boundaries of the City Hall property and cold storage right now. So nothing outside of it is actually being contemplated with this resolution. So, with the changes to 254th and potentially.
54 will be like a drive, like a parking / drive.
It'll still be a road.
Yeah,
Street, one way.
But they'll have on-street parking.
Right.
yeah.
Right. It was included just to kind of give you the idea of how the whole flow, but it's not
Correct.
part of the actual resolution tonight.
Yeah.
Is that it, Ms. Parker? Ms. Pola, you got reaching for the mic? No? No? Ms. Kathy?
I was wondering the same thing, because when you said it was gonna flow, it sounded like that was gonna incorporate itself somewhere into that, so I was wondering the same thing. So I think you answered my question too. It's not gonna affect the Pocket Park or Berry Park at all.
You're correct.
The road's still gonna be the same right there.
Correct.
You had one more slide that had blue and yellow, and yeah, that's good. So that kind of squiggly road that goes in between the blue and the yellow, that's what will come off of 254th. So you can turn off of what will eventually be Newberry Road westbound, south on 254th, and kind of make a loop through City Hall.
Where are you talking about?
So the existing Newberry Road is down here at the bottom.
Okay.
First, which will become Newberry Road after the two-way pairs, is up here. So if I were to turn down 254th, if I were to come in, I could turn this way and come back.
You can't
through.
turn on.
That's not decided yet.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's being shown here as a one-way. It probably will be a one-way, but it's not decided which way it's going to be a one-way, whether we want to go there eastbound or westbound. So that kind of flow and all of that was done with the intention of incorporating Berry Park, Municipal Building, City Hall grounds for Christmas festivals, downtown festivals, all of those kinds of things to keep that traffic moving. Ms. Bowen?
Thank you. Are we expecting any additional offices or, no, offices, I'll just say offices, any additional offices in this building versus what's here now? Like, what's incorporated in City Hall right now?
So the mayor probably can address this a little bit better than I can, but I think the intent is to consolidate all of the administrative functions of the city into one building, and that's what the Newberry City Hall will serve as.
So that would be the Red Schoolhouse, the annex across the street, and this location.
Yes, ma'am.
The reason that I'm asking that is just as far as parking is concerned, or do we have enough for the offices
Gotcha.
that will be incorporated in this building?
Yeah.
So
right now we have a total of 18 parking spots, 12 of them which are kind of devoted to the 1908 farmhouse, and I'm not counting the unimproved parking area that staff uses where the city hall will be. This site has 46 parking spaces on it, so a significant bump up. I believe that with First Baptist, there might be an opportunity to negotiate for temporary parking there, should there be additional demand for employee parking at that site or for customer parking. And that's essentially the parking situation.
is there a plan in place for the parking as it stands for staff currently? Like, is that what you're talking about, like First Baptist will house them temporarily?
Correct,
Okay.
yeah.
Thank you.
I think we have enough parking on site for the staff that will be here, because this building will, it'll be utilized, but it's going to be overflow conference room. The deal that we're trying to work out with First Baptist is city paves the parking lot. We get access to it during the weekday, and then events, those kinds of things. They get a paved parking lot, and obviously they need it on Wednesday night and Sunday, those kinds of things.
I have one further question, if that's okay. It's not 100% pertinent to this, but what is the bidding process for this going to be like? Is it CHW or Monarch is bidding it out? Is this a public bid? Is this?
May I defer to you, Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, and it's
And
the
again,
process.
if this is not
Right.
the time and place for the
Well, it's
question.
not in a quasi. I'll answer that question after we get done with the
Okay.
quasi. How about
Thank you.
that? Because it's
It is a
not
complicated one, yeah. And
Right.
The commission has been through a few meetings, but
Part
it's
of the
gone a different
steps.
direction.
Yeah. Other questions about the site plan? Board member Naeem?
So you kind of answered into the two-way pair, so I guess all the easements have been adjusted accordingly. So I appreciate you showing that. My question is the generator that we currently have on property, are we looking to, is that going to be able to hold the capacity for the new building? Are we asking for a new generator?
Yeah.
And if so, is the site plan already taking into account, because I've seen the size of our generator for this, and then I've seen the size of the generator at Easton, and it's obviously a lot bigger.
We're getting a new one.
So I was going to ask if the rendering shows the space for our new capacity of a generator.
We are proposing to get a new generator, and we'll relocate this one to some other place in the city that is appropriately sized for. This generator is not sized large enough to handle the electrical load from New City Hall.
It can't come to your house, though.
I was about to ask if you're going to bid that out or
Your
something. And we can put it in the subdivision, okay?
Are there other questions specific? John?
No, that was just my concern, because I noticed that there was a small part on the rendering for the generator we currently have, and I didn't know how much bigger that was going to occupy a space, because I take it that we did have plans somewhere to get a bigger generator. So, thank you.
Absolutely.
Other questions about the site plan? No? Okay. Would you like to make a final argument?
No, sir.
Would you like to make a final argument?
Yes, sir.
All right. Mr. Attorney, would you please advise since making by applicable law and factual findings?
Is the substantial and competent evidence standard, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, hang on 1 second. I think we can get through this meeting, and if you've now got the rendering, we'll go back to that one, right? Okay, so we'll enter into deliberations. Those are no deliberations. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
I have a motion for approval from Board Member Naeem. Second from Ms. Kathy. Okay, comments, questions on motion on the floor, which is to approve the site plan. You like the way it looks, like the way it laid out. Any last comments? Ms. Parker, you look like you're formulating one last one. No. All right, open to the public. Comments about how the City Hall rendering layout footprint is going to be? Seeing none, we'll come back. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. That takes us out of quasi-judicial. Mr. New, there was a question about the bidding process. We waited for that question. So the bidding process for City Hall, could you give the board a kind of a rundown of where we're at in that step and how that moves forward?
We are not utilizing the conventional design bid, build, construction process. We have secured a construction manager at risk through a competitive solicitation. Their role is to serve as construction manager and to bid all the trade work out to a bunch of subs through our normal purchasing process, and then they'll compile all that and give us a guaranteed maximum price. And they have developed a guaranteed maximum price, and we have just been working with it about, well, where can we save some money? So we have been working to shave that down, and they'll re-solicit bids once we change the work scope slightly. It's a bit of an iterative process, probably for the next 45 to 60 days, and then we will have the final GMP. We'll bring that to the City Commission, guaranteed maximum price, which we'll bring to the City Commission for consideration. I think we are in the 8.43 range.
Yeah.
We're in the $8.5 million range currently, and I think we have, from a financing perspective, we have about $2 million cash in hand, and we are going to borrow the rest of the funding over a 30-year period to fund construction of the project. Any other questions?
Are you able to disclose the contract to your CM at risk?
Can you turn your
absolutely.
microphone?
I was asking who the CM
Yeah.
at risk was.
Yes, and I should have said that. That is Scorpio. They're a construction firm based out of Gainesville. There were probably 4 firms that submitted. They ranked highest, and so they're handling this project. We're using that same vehicle for other projects out at Easton. We're using the local Ulrich Construction is partnering with us for some projects in other parts of the city.
I'm a construction nerd, so I just wanted to know.
And this one has been a learning process for all of us, because it's certainly a big job. Thank you, sir. We appreciate you coming in. All right, that's going to move us to item number 3, which is a special permit for temporary use and alcohol service for the Vibes on the Lawn Car and Bike Show to be held on June 22nd. John Paul, take it away.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Again, John Paul Perez, Planning and Economic Development Department. The request now is for a special permit for temporary use, that being an outdoor concert, as well as alcohol service at that outdoor concert, for a event called Vibes on the Lawn, which is going to be a car and bike show, as well as having DJs, food trucks, etc. So our recommended motion is for, at the pleasure of the board, to approve conditions, continue or deny the petition. And there are some animations embedded in this presentation I'm not prepared for. So the applicant is Own the Night LLC. Owner of the property is Pat Post. This is for that large, where he does the auctions. I'll show you an aerial image shortly, but a site that the city has previously discussed with it being a venue for similar types of events. The event will be on June 22nd from 1 p.m. to 9 p.m. And this is the description of the event in the letter. It aims to unite Tri-County area with quality entertainment, live music, delicious food, unique offerings from vendors. It's a family-friendly event, and it was looking to support a local economy. So these are the plans provided by the applicant showing where the parking is, where the vendors will be located, ingress, egress, as well as the music stage area, and the bathrooms. This is an aerial I presented or created just to show that in a little bit more of a scaled back perspective, so you can see where folks are coming in and out of the site, where there'll be parking, where the vendors will be, and where the event area is. This is where the event area will be taking place, and this is the depression in the site that was identified as being a... You have a question, Mr. Mayor?
I do. Well, actually, yes, but that's the pit.
It is the pit,
And
yes.
this event is happening inside the pit.
It is happening inside the pit.
The entire event? Or were there areas outside?
So there are the vendors there. You can see are outside of the pit.
Can you go back to where the bathrooms were in location to that?
Yes.
It's every tree that you see on the...
Just kidding.
Just kidding. Yeah,
Newberry fashion. You're just gonna pick a tree and mark it.
yeah.
So it's in between vendors and the pit?
Yes, so there's a path between where the parking area and the vendors are to the pit, and in that pathway, that's where the Jiffy Johns or the portable toilets will be lined up for people to use. So it'll be naturally in an area between the two attractions on the site, which are the vendors and the music. So as they go to one place, you'll be passing it pretty frequently. So any other questions? This is the flyer provided for the event, Vibes on the Lawn, June 22nd. And our recommended motion is to do as the board pleases to do.
Okay, does the applicant have a presentation?
Hey, how y'all doing today? My name is Xavier Wood. I'm gonna tell you a little bit about myself before I continue on. I'm born and raised Newberryan. I went to school at Newberry Elementary, Oakview Middle School, and the high school. I actually coach at Newberry School right now. I coach the running backs. So I'm play at Newberry, born and raised Newberry. So I'm gonna talk about the event. I have paperwork. Can I present this to y'all? Bring it to y'all?
You can, but I understand he's got 5, so I need somebody after the event to just donate theirs back to Miss Missy back there, so we have one for the record. Did we have 6?
Yeah, I have 6.
Oh, perfect. Then just give my copy.
Give a copy to her.
Yes, sir. Do you want it first?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
And Miss Missy there in the back.
So with this event, get my phone now. With this event, I wanted to bring the communities together. It does get to the Tri-County area. I want to talk about the specifics. Let's go straight into it. Security. We have over 30 security guards. It would be no weapons on the premises. The traffic flow will be directed by the security guards, which we have in contract right now. Let me pull this up in my phone. By night security out of Gainesville, we have 30 security guards. We have if you look at the site plan, we do have the emergency exit.
Can you go back to the site plan that's missing? Can you put the overall site plan back on the screen?
Okay.
Oh.
Thank you. We do have the emergency exit and income for ambulance if anything was to happen, which we don't plan on it. This is a family and kid-friendly event. We have over 20 food truck vendors already licensed. We will have monitored parking controlled by the security guards as well. Everything in this event, we try to dot our I's and cross our T's. You know, I wanted to do it in Newberry because I am from here and I wanted to bring a new thing to Newberry. It's 3 security checkpoints, and if we are checking cars thoroughly, the security guards already been told we're doing pat downs and looking into vehicles. It would be 3 before you enter the premises. We have 3 security guard checks. So where you see the main entrance at, that would be a security guard check. Where you see the end of the arrows where it says security check, that would be another one. And then on the second, where you see checkpoint on the second picture, that would be another security guard check before you enter the music stage.
Could you give me my only concern about that is if you stop the traffic to do something like that, then you get the line back out. So are you pulling them far enough in?
We are pulling them. So where you see the 3 lines at, it's a 3-lane traffic flow.
Right here?
Yes, sir.
So there's 26.
Yep.
They all come in right here.
Yes, sir.
3 lanes come down, and the first checkpoint is where? Here?
Right there.
Right there.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that's 3. That's like
so we wanted to
almost half a mile.
Yeah. So we wanted to do the 3-lane traffic to keep traffic on 26 coming in Newberry and out of Newberry. We didn't want that traffic jam, and our traffic control will be by the same security company as well.
You'll have 3 in and then 3 out when it's time to leave, same 3?
Yes. And then, like I said, we could also use that emergency exit if anything happened to come in and out as well, too.
Hey, Mr. Woods.
Yes,
Real
sir.
quick, while we're on the topic of the security checkpoints into vehicles, is there a point in the checkpoint where if someone says, "I don't trust you looking at my car," can they be denied access? And if
Yes,
so, what's the off ramp from those 3 lanes?
So the 3 lanes, we do have space for an off ramp to
Okay.
turn cars around in that 3 lane as well, to turn them around and they can.
And
go
they won't
out.
be able to find a way back in or
Yes,
anything like
sir.
that?
Yep, because
Okay.
that main entrance is security as well.
Okay.
Any more questions?
And Mr. Woods, this is a very high level of security. This is your plan, or was this asked? Because for a car show, we don't normally require that much security, those many checkpoints. But you proposed this.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure that this was done right,
Okay.
the correct way.
And you've got the night security in, have you got ASO on the road directing traffic in and out?
So when I read the contract, it said it had the clause in of the word if ASO. So we didn't do ASO, but I did do my research and I talked to the security guard. They did tell me, the chief of the security guard company, he told me if anything was possibly to happen, that they call ASO on their own.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
I don't know if, probably not a requirement, but maybe there's a way to at least notify ASO that this is happening so they can be aware and prepared. I know that they're often around anyways,
Correct.
but to have them on high alert to know that there could be potential drunk drivers or anything else going on
Okay.
might be something to look into.
Yes, ma'am.
You said there's 30 security guards, and then they're
Correct.
going to be in charge of handling the traffic flow. Is that part of the 30 on-site
That's part
total?
of, yes, ma'am, that's part of that 30.
Once the parking is handled, are they monitoring the lot at that
They
point, or
monitor-
do they move into the,
So let me give you the event schedule. So from 1 to 5, where you see the monitored parking and the vendors, that's where the crowd will be at, trying to, where the vendors will make their money.
Okay.
And then at 5 o'clock, I talked to the security as well. At 5 o'clock, it will be no cars playing music. Everybody will have to come to the pit, to the music stage. So at 5 o'clock, we already
You're
talked to
shuffling
security.
in.
We shuffling on in at 5. But from 1 to 5, we wanted to make, vibes on the line. We wanted to make sure the people could get their food, have fun, walk around, see the site, And then at 5 o'clock, we already told security it would be no music playing from their cars. Everybody have to come to the pit. And if they play music to the car, from their cars and give us a hard time, kick them off the premises.
okay, I know this is a huge space, so probably not. Do you have a capped amount of people? Because once you have too many people, what about your security, right? You should have a certain
Correct.
amount of security
we-
per people.
The cap will be probably 2,000. We're not expecting 2,000 people for the first one to come around, but that probably will be the cap, is 2,000 people.
Hang on a second. Are you done, Ms. Parker, or
Um,
are you pondering another?
Are you
well, I
And let
just,
me-
Are you done with your presentation? Because we kind of stopped at the
Okay, yeah, let me
You wanna
clear
finish
this
the
up. So,
presentation?
I know, you had asked me a question about turning around, and I wanted to go into depth about because I say no guns on the premises. So I wanted to clear this up as well. So if they do have a gun in their car, the security has lock chests with a key lock, and he will take their weapon and give them a ticket, and they're responsible for that ticket to come get their gun back at the end of the event going home. I wanted to make sure I
Does
said
night
that.
security have the insurance policy in place for that?
Yes.
Because I'm just hypothetically thinking here, if I would love nothing but a successful event for you.
Yes, sir.
Because I love what you do for our boys in Newberry, and this could become a positive thing.
Yes, sir.
My fear is there's 2,000 people,
Mm-hmm.
there's 2,000 weapons. But I'm just saying hypothetically.
Gotcha.
Do they have the ability to be, worst case scenario, 2,000 lock boxes to lock these weapons? Not saying that that's gonna happen.
Correct,
I'm
correct.
hoping that people are responsible and saying
Correct.
like, listen, I'm not, but there's gonna be those that will bring a weapon on.
Correct.
That's my thing, is making sure that you're protected, because the last thing I want is nights falling back onto you.
Correct.
And then it hurts you, which in turn hurts our boys, hurts,
Right.
and
Right.
you're a Newberry guy like us, so
Yes,
we want to
sir.
make sure that you stay around, man,
Yes,
you know.
sir.
So, I'm concerned is the certificate of insurance for nights and security handling such an event. Not saying that they can't,
Mhm.
just, wanting to make sure that you're being protected.
Yes, sir.
Back to Ms. Parker's point is, this is where I know there's an if on the ASO, but this might be a benefit for you to enhance it a little bit to inform ASO of what's going on, just in case anything like enforcing security, someone gives you too much of a hard time.
Correct.
Now you got too many security guards trying to handle that situation and something else is happening somewhere else.
That's why we went with the higher number of security. We
Yeah,
tried to take
I
out
recognize the security firm, and they are a great security firm. It's not, I'm just not aware of how much they've handled in the past.
So, all the events in Gainesville, like the festivals, that usually be the security guards who does that. Even the ones that they did a big music festival in Waldo and brought in a main artist, same security company. So they background speak for themselves. Pretty sure they can handle that.
Hang on.
Are they
Hang on
armed?
1 second.
Yes.
So they have the insurance
Yes.
for that, and are we, what's it called, named?
We don't have to be named additional insured because.
No,
of the
but I
fact
mean
that-
for the whole event.
So I would say
Like
night
a main
security would
addition.
have to be added to their policy because they are part of the event, but the city itself, reading into insurance, there's what I do. I'm
Yes, sir,
insurance.
yes, sir.
The city wouldn't have to be named additional insured because it's not a city-sponsored event. The city's not providing the event.
But are we
But the
though,
security, that's where like insurance is going to be so vitally important. And it's really, God forbid something in the event happens, it's more of a protection for you and your company. Because the last thing I want to see, and I've seen it, where there's not enough insurance and all of a sudden you end up having to go bankrupt because of a tragedy or something happened
Correct.
that was out of your control and you did your, like here, you're doing such a great diligence, it's just adding to that diligence to make sure that you are protected on the back end as well.
Yes, sir.
I think John Paul might
Yes.
have a,
So the city's not named as an additional insured in this scenario, and insurance wasn't provided. That can be part of your recommended motion.
The city doesn't have to be listed as an additional insurer as far as I'm concerned. They just, they should be provided a certificate of insurance providing that they are a covered event.
Okay.
But as far as the city being
Hang on a
added,
so, Mr. Attorney, could you, because we have, for special event permits, we have set some sort of a standard for when we do ask that, but I can't remember, and Mike might be able to help us as well. At what point do we ask to be named as a,
Typically, if it's a city event, we are always named as an additional assured on the policy liability. But it's one of those things we can require. I'm trying to remember, Mike, if we required that at some of the events previously.
I thought there was a population
Out at the,
point that we hit, I just can't remember.
I don't recall a threshold. The 2 or 3 of these that we've had previously with Sister Hazel
Right.
was one, and then there was an event that came after Sister Hazel. I don't recall who the artist was. And so we have asked that the city be additionally insured. I'm not suggesting that we should have, but we have on occasion asked for that. I think that city attorney's office recommendation should prevail over anything that my recollection on what precedents we may have set.
Right. And now, my understanding of it, you know this way better than I do, but that is not an expensive component to.
That's never been the issue.
yeah, it's really not an expensive thing, but anytime we've asked, so you're aware, anytime we've asked an applicant to add the city of Newberry as an additional insured, sometimes the commission has turned around and said, hey, it's not even a requirement. Because it's truly, unless this was actually like on the city property itself, or like an Easton event or something like that, or Freddie Warmack, where they're using our facilities and buildings, then the liability can be extended into the city, which that's why we would add the city of Newberry to be protected under your special events policy. It doesn't cost much if you want it as a safety precaution. I'm more concerned of you as a business owner making sure that you have the adequate insurance and Knights have the adequate insurance. God forbid if we live in a very lawsuit hungry state at the moment, and any chance somebody has the ability to sue, they're going to sue.
Right.
And my concern is, I guess you could say, is taking care of our town and taking care of our people in our town like you that do so much for our boys. I don't want to see anything happen to you financially because of something that wasn't covered.
Got you.
So that's all it really is. It's more of a protection guidelines for you because you're doing really, like I said, fantastic job with the security checkpoints and all that. I want to make sure that if anybody decides to slip and fall or get hurt or, worse.
Climb on a tree and fall.
Right.
Because-
Something that you couldn't control or couldn't even imagine happening, and all of a sudden now, you can't hold an event because you're being sued, and you didn't have enough coverage.
Okay.
Hang on, I want to follow up. John Paul, you said that we don't have any insurance part of that. That's always part of the application. So what do we have just as a record of insurance, whether we're named in it or not? What's in the application? What do we have about their insurance?
There's no liability insurance in the application. It is marked as a document on the application as for submittal, but it is not a requirement in the code for them to provide liability insurance. So as a general practice or policy, we do ask for liability insurance, but at the end of the day, we cannot prevent them from going to a hearing without the liability insurance.
Does the owner of the property have event liability insurance? Do we know that?
I don't know if Pat Post carries liability insurance.
Okay. Let me go back to my previous, we kind of interrupted your presentation with the questions about the parking there. Were you done with the presentation?
Yeah,
I want you to be able to give the whole presentation. Then we can come back and go through,
That's fine, we can continue.
all of these. Are you done?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so Ms. Polo?
Thank you. I have two questions.
ma'am.
In your presentation here, you say the music segment is from 5 to 9, and then in your noise regulation, the concert will conclude by 10. Can you tell me which one of those would be the accurate time?
It's a hard cutoff at 9.
It's a hard cutoff at 9.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
I'm just asking because it says 10
Yeah.
there, and then it said 11 in the
Yeah,
previous documentation.
we talked about that before the meeting. It was a mistyped on my behalf when we wrote it up, so it's a hard cutoff
What? You're
at 9.
human. You made a mistake. You made a typo. How dare you?
I apologize.
Actually, it turns out I have 3 questions. So my second question, in your thing here, it says alcohol only served in the VIP sections. One bottle. So I'm asking, are you serving like liquor or wine and beer or?
So the bottle, it is a liquor bottle, but it's no alcohol being sold on the premises. But I do have the liquor license if we wanted to, but that's what was confusing to me as well. It's no alcohol being sold on the premises. So the ticket and that ticket price, it will come with that purchase. And
For
that's
the
it.
VIP
Yes,
ticket
ma'am,
only.
and that's it.
Right, so you're not selling any alcohol.
Correct.
It's, how are you, I mean, grown people can,
Right.
have a couple of drinks and be okay theoretically and then go into a concert for a while. What is your cutoff time as far as alcohol serving is concerned?
Probably 7.
7?
7.
Okay, thank you. And then my final question, and thank you for your patience with this. When we're talking about traffic control, I see, and that's great having those 3 lanes and everything like that. When we're talking about turning cars off of Newberry Road, making that left-hand turn into
Yes,
the
ma'am.
property, is there going to be anybody monitoring that left-hand turn? Because there's so many cars that come in
Correct.
that way that I'm concerned about the backup. Is there, which is why, ASO might be a good, they might be able to help with some of that ingress egress.
I will get ASO involved, but when I reached out to ASO and I told them I had night security, they hit me with that. Oh, they know how to handle. Yeah. So
I just wasn't sure if they had that jurisdiction to be able to stop traffic.
Yeah.
Because, the crossing guards aren't allowed to stop traffic
Correct,
either.
correct.
So I wasn't sure, like,
That's,
I'm not
I think
belittling
there's a
them
good
at all,
idea.
at all.
Just having one team of ASO at the road, because the night security can't go out there and stop traffic, but ASO could stop traffic and let that
And with
left-hand
that
turn.
flow coming from Trenton, you want to have, you got too many people, you want to have somebody kind of
Gotcha.
let the flow go in.
Just let ASO, you're not asking them to come into the event. They're going to just sit there right on the road.
Just to keep
Yeah.
it a little faster.
And
Yeah,
that
I
particular point is on kind of close to, correct me if I'm wrong, it's close to a curve and then a hill, right? Coming from Trenton and coming this way, it's like, I don't know if you guys got that curvy hill
Yeah. So
thing.
now I have a question for y'all now, because I did my research on this whole event. Is it any kind of way that I think it's DOT could put up slower traffic signs from the inside Newberry?
ASO has those
Yeah.
signs.
Like the eyes up, phone
Correct,
down kind of
correct.
sign.
ASO, okay.
They have those.
Because ASO told me that city could do it, could put.
We
those
can
signs
help
up.
facilitate the request. We can,
Okay.
when we talk to ASO, but
Okay.
as far as I know, they've got 3 or 4 of those, and it's basically just can you get it on the calendar? And can we get one? Because they just kind of spread them out for whoever asked first.
You just take this one
So,
and scoot it on
But
down there.
if you call ASO and say, hey, I just need a unit to potentially direct traffic in and out, and I think they've got a 2-hour minimum, 2 hours, is it 2 or 4?
I think it's 4.
But when you talk to them, they say, hey, I'd like to rent one of those signs too, they'll know who to call. They give you that contact information.
Those are all the questions. Thanks.
Those are,
Thank you.
Ms. Parker, are you reaching for the microphone?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I'm loaded with them, I'm so sorry.
Let's go, Ms. Parker.
She's an event planner too.
I'm with it.
I am an event planner, so I have a lot of questions.
Yes, ma'am.
And I want you to have a successful event. Who
Thank you.
doesn't love a fantastic event, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And we need those out here.
Yes, ma'am.
So,
Thank you.
don't take my questions as
I'm not. I
negative
promise
at
you,
all.
I'm not.
I have a question. You said you're thinking maybe up to 2,000. So what is the plan with security? Because security is a huge focus for me. There's a lot going on around here.
Correct.
We know we don't want any of that for sure at your event,
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
So if it increases up to 2,000, what is the plan for security? Because then I really feel like you need closer to,
So
80.
great question, and I have the answer for that. We do have extra security on standby,
On call.
on call.
Okay. And the alcohol, it says that if you buy a VIP ticket, you get you can bring your own bottle in? You're handed a bottle of
So
wine? Like, how does that?
So that bottle will be on the premises already, but like I said, it's already bought. It's no alcohol, no vendor will be selling.
There's no
alcohol.
bartenders
It's
or
no
anything? So you
bartenders.
just
It's-
hand them,
Correct.
is it liquor or
It is a liquor bottle.
Okay,
Yeah, but it's only for the VIP section.
okay.
Yeah.
So they bought their bottle with their
Correct.
ticket,
Yes,
essentially.
ma'am. Correct.
And then, so you said it's kid-friendly, so there's no age limits for that
It's
at all?
kid-friendly.
Okay, perfect.
I'm for
my-
the kids.
My only suggestion is considering maybe a few more bathrooms.
Okay.
3, I don't know if you could be able to get to all 6, but you said there's 3 in the food vendor area, and you're going to usher everyone in, and then they aren't going back out once the music starts, right?
Correct.
So then they only have access to 3. You've got 2,000 people potentially.
Okay.
I would just suggest maybe
More
a couple
bathrooms.
extra bathrooms
Okay.
for people to utilize.
Yes, ma'am.
How are they searching the vehicles? Are
So-
they like removing the people and going
Yes.
through?
Yes. I told them that they're roll baby.
And we're patting down people. Are we doing any metal detection or anything like that?
I don't know if he has the metal one. I'm pretty sure of it,
Some
but
wands or something?
correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
I think that's it.
Thank you, Ms. Long.
Yeah, are people allowed to bring their own alcohol?
Great question, Mr. Long.
That's a hard thing to know. But
Yeah.
this could be water. This could be water.
I was,
Get you to with the commission, man.
yeah, I mean, not opposed to it. I mean, I can't control it. I'd rather not, but
I mean, I think you control that by, not letting people back out until, like, once you leave.
Correct.
If you leave, you're leaving.
Yeah, yeah.
If you're going back and forth to the car,
got you. Okay.
But, that it, Mr. Long?
Yeah, that was it.
Name?
Back to Ms. Parker's point, so the 30 security guards that you have, I was looking through the application process, I see that on the contract from night security, it says we'll have 10 officers on duty. I take it that contract's been amended to 30.
Yes, sir, we did
Okay.
revise that contract.
Okay, and then on that contract, is there anything that will stipulate what you mentioned as well, saying that there'll be additional security if?
I could get it on that contract if
Okay.
need be.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, from my aspect of it, I would love an event like this.
Thank you.
I come from Miami, I'm born and raised there, and these events like this are amazing, they are kid-friendly. The only thing is like that you don't have any control over, and I know it's gonna be brought up at some point, is you don't control the after parties that happen. And our scare is something spills off into the streets of Newberry, or something that happened like last year where after, I believe it was the Ross party that spilled out into Jonesville and they blocked off the CVS and all this craziness. I know you don't want that to happen.
Correct.
We've discussed, how can we prevent that from happening? And I think you're doing a great job in the sense of providing us that sense of security and saying that, you're going to be searching the vehicles, you're trying to control the alcohol that's available there. My only concern is just like the timing of the event is because it ends at 9 o'clock on a Saturday.
Correct.
We all, I'm from Miami, party doesn't stop at 9 o'clock. I'm taking a shower at 9 p.m., getting ready to go out at 11 o'clock at night. So that's where the fear comes in of what could possibly happen after 9 o'clock. You have a lot of cars, you got a lot of show cars that are, listen, from the flyer, it looks like you're going to have a lot of bikes and cars that are beautiful, that people want to see and want to show off, rightfully so. You spend a ton of money on these cars. Well, if the party doesn't end at 9 o'clock, or the party ends at 9 o'clock, how are we trying to prevent that spillover? And I think one of the things is having ASO somewhat available on the streets to show some sort of hey, party's here, let's keep it here. And then when it's over, it's over in the sense that it doesn't carry on outside of the venue into the city of Newberry or possibly Jonesville or even to Trenton. Let's say it goes over to Trenton.
Yeah.
I'm very confident in knowing a lot of the steps you've taken.
Thank you.
And as the insurance, she's the event planner, I'm the insurance guy. I'm always thinking of, protecting, especially someone from Newberry that's still in Newberry and wants to keep it in Newberry.
Yes, sir.
So any questions that you may have for me later on, I'm even more than happy to
Thank you for
be
that.
available for you.
Yes, sir.
I'm not your insurance agent, but I could definitely give you some tips and what should you do to protect yourself. Because I was just mentioning to member Long, if this pops off really well, which we would hope it does, it will show a reputation of yourself to the city of Newberry, to its residents, hey, we can have a great family event. This could be the first annual one. We can have a second annual one. We can have a third one, fourth one. And it could be a very safe, friendly environment.
Yes, sir.
And that, I think, is the goal. And you're probably gonna receive that as well on the commission when you go to them. But I do appreciate you taking even more precaution. I would personally like to see the amendment to the contract, the liability insurance at least presented to show that you are protecting yourself. Because the city's not gonna be held liable, but I'm trying to help you out as a business owner.
I understand.
I don't have much more.
In talking, I came up with, are your ticket sales, are they pre-sale only, or are you selling on site?
Both.
So, that goes back to security. If you
Correct.
get a bunch of people that show up that day, how fast can security get there to check those things, all the people coming in, right?
Correct. So, again, this security company that I hired came from ASO itself. They handle this kind of traffic flow very well. Like I said, they do a lot of main events in Gainesville and out of Gainesville with major artists. So I'm very confident they could get it done. And if you look at the site plan where you see security check,
Yes.
that's after the 3-lane, that's kind of try to get that traffic to keep going away from 26 as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have good lighting in and out, because about 9 o'clock it's gonna probably be dark.
I do have lighting. Sorry about that. I have lights, yeah. I have lights. Sorry.
Are those those big generator lights in the parking
big
lot?
generator lights, what you see on the side of the road at night, I do have those. We have 6 of those.
Oh, 6 light up.
Now the parking, would it be monitored? You said, it says monitored parking, so once the event starts, you said there's no music on the parking lot. So basically, you're encouraging everybody to move from the parking to the concert event.
Yes.
Now, once they're at the concert event, is there something that you have stated or security is aware of? Once you get to the concert event and you cross over from that parking to the concert event, if you go back to your vehicle, you're leaving for the day. Because we've had those events that work well that, hey, once you leave your car and you go to the event, and you go back to, you're done. You gotta go home. If not, you're gonna get checked all over again.
And you just answered the question.
Okay.
So if they go back to their car, they get checked again before they enter back. Because again, the concert is in the hole, but we still have food vendors out there making money. So if somebody got to go to their car to get extra money, or they forgot their Visa card, they still, they still got to have that access to go back to their car, but they will get checked again.
So I have a question. So in that staging area, that pit, is it blocked off on that backside? Because you
Yes.
have access to get up in further areas.
Yes,
of
so
that.
the stage will be facing away from that backside. So we'll have the end, we roping off, we will have gates, it's a pond on land. We have gates, for kids, kids like to go sightseeing.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Yeah,
That
so
pit
we do
has
have
the
that
open-
gate, we do have that roped off, gated up from kids not going back there.
Would you mind talking to me? Oh, I'm sorry.
She's been waiting. No.
I forgot, I didn't write it down.
I was just gonna,
Oh, okay. Have you been waiting too, Miss Kathy? Because she's been,
I'm
No?
waiting till the end.
okay.
can you,
I want to hear everybody.
showing the monitored parking, is that where, do you know how many, like, show cars you're gonna have and bikes, and do you have like a section that, in that
So-
monitored parking that's
so
gonna be
in that
roped off
event-
for the event?
So in that event plan, in my event plan, the show cars, they show up at 12 to be already set up before the traffic flow even enters. So the show cars will already be on the premises before anybody even comes
So
in.
they'll be like roped off in
They
a separate
already be
section?
yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know, just for my curiosity, do you know how many cars that you already have? Like,
Show cars?
yeah, because on your flyer it's like show cars and the bikes, and I'm
Yeah.
like,
So show cars,
Yeah.
I have one myself, so
okay.
one. Two. But nah, seriously, we probably have over 12 show cars.
Okay.
Come out,
And bikes?
please,
Oh,
and
tonight we
bikes.
go?
Yeah, come on out. If you come out, I got you at the gate.
Never follow?
Come on.
Same, from those VIP tickets cost. I'm just curious if there is a way for you to advise people in advance, any of your pre-sale folks, as to what they can expect, so that they know not to have altered expectations about being able to go back and forth, and
So-
just so they know.
My promotion team, they already been doing that. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we talked about traffic getting onto the site, back off the site, lighting in the parking lot. Do you have like an ambulance there at the event, or is it
So,
just?
all right, and this is my question to y'all, because when we brought this to the city of Newberry, it was no packet to like figure out what we needed to make this event go. It was more so like, all right, you tell me I need this, all right, here it goes. You tell me I need this, all right, here it goes.
For the ambulance, that is like a threshold. So if you think
So-
there's two, as we always have at the football games.
Correct.
like
So
we have
what I've been
ambulance in
told,
there.
I heard that the ambulance didn't have to be on site. It just had to have an entry
Notice.
and exit
Yeah.
route, and that's what we created for them.
Okay.
Yeah, you gotta have that.
Yeah. Decibel levels, right down inside the
In the
pit, that's
pit.
where the music
Yes,
is
sir.
being played. I think any,
I mean, the music in the cars is till 5, so it's not like it's.
are the show cars down in the pit, or are they up with the vendors?
They up where the
They're up with
vendors
the
are,
food
yes,
trucks.
sir.
So I walk past that. Inside the pit is music,
Where the
entertainment, that's where
staging-
that's happening.
Yes, sir.
You
Are
think
you
something
gonna
else?
have the pit open, or is it gonna be blocked off until the concert?
Blocked off until the concert.
I have a question as far as, I'm concerned, he said there isn't any like packet or paperwork or maybe like a list of what someone might need from the city to apply for something like that? Is that something that can,
Well, my
happen?
understanding is the way that normally works is you bring in the application, and then staff sets up a meeting and asks all these kinds of questions and then gives guidance, because every special permit is special in its own way.
it's different, right?
So it's all different, and so some things are thresholds, some things are not, some things are based on time of day, some things are based on, other things, so we kind of take special permits as a
Okay. I didn't know if there was
101.
like a general kind of list that.
Well, I think the
Yeah.
application kind of takes you through the broad strokes of things that
It
you want to
does.
think about.
I haven't thrown an event here, so I don't know that.
Yeah. My only thought here is more of a general, and I don't want the people that come to this event to feel like But, I got 3 different checkpoints and you're going through my car and all that kind of stuff. That's that's a next level of security. And you said that's what you're proposing and doing, and that's fine. But if I brought my family to an event and they started going through my car, I think I would be a little offended, and I might leave based on that. So, is there a particular reason that you feel like you need this level of security?
The only reason I did this level of security, and it was just to protect the liability, like he said, of my own.
I mean, I'm not saying not to.
Correct. So,
but I'd hate to see people say, "Man, this is like getting into a prison or something."
So let me add to that as well. So I'm big on the safety. Like I say, I work with kids, and I do know what's going around, so I wanted to make sure all measures was crossed.
I mean, I guess it's the going through the car that seems like, is there a way that you can park people, and then as they come through,
yes.
I know you got that checkpoint, but
Right.
it seems a little extreme to go through somebody's car.
Well, if you wanted to protect that, I would just not allow them to go back to their vehicle. I've been to large music festivals, and once you're in, that's it.
Correct.
You can buy your food, your drink, they're going to check you when you come in, and there's no going back to your car after that. Be prepared.
Okay.
Kind of a deal.
I think a lot of times with those type of events, they have a gate. So it's easy to monitor that aspect.
Yes, you
this
have to
right here
come
with
through.
an open field, it's going to be kind of hard to watch everybody going back and forth. If you had a gate process, then yes. Because I've been to car shows in Orlando where you have a gate, and once you go out, they stop you from going
Correct.
Right.
So this right here is a little different, and I can understand the safety aspect of it. You want to make sure it's present, people feel safe. The going in the car maybe feel excessive, but that could be one-off. That could be few people. That's not going to be the majority.
Okay.
I'm definitely not upset. I'm not upset about it.
Like I said,
I understand.
So how would you feel, Mr. Woods, since you're asking us, like what we think on this? So I see you have the vendors on the south side, you have the parking. To Ms. Parker's point, like in some of these concert events that are massive in Orlando and whatnot, once you go to the parking lot from an event, your wristband is cut off, you gotta go.
Correct.
Kind of thing. But to your point, people want to go back to the vendor, spend more money, get food, get whatever it is that they want to get. We can, if there's a gate process that divides the vendors from that parking, that lets them go to the vendors, but listen, once you go to the car, like, get whatever you need from your car. Take your wallet. Take your credit card. Everybody has an iPhone or Samsung that has a credit card on it.
So the monitored parking lot that you see, and I understand what you're saying about going back into the car, they already got their car checked before they get to the monitored parking. That's why you have the 3 security checks on site. So, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. So,
And then before you enter the monitored parking, it's 2 gates that you got to go through already.
so the concern to Marlo's point is somebody checking the vehicle, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the gun safety. Florida has a pretty strict gun law that if you've been drinking, you can't have your weapon on you.
Correct.
So if night security confiscates a weapon, locks it, and I've had Florida law, if I'm not mistaken, 1 drink. If I were to go claim my firearm, I'm breaking the law already. So how is night security gonna ensure that they're not
Handing a weapon.
handing a weapon over to someone, maybe not even drunk, but the fact that they know that they drank something, they're breaking the law at that point.
Okay.
So it's just, that's where I'm like kind of conflicted on the whole, I believe in everybody has a right to bear arms. And if I'm licensed to carry it, it stays in my car, it's protected. But as a responsible individual, I should know that if my weapon is in my vehicle, I am not supposed to be drinking.
Correct.
But however, if night security is taking my gun, then I kind of feel like, okay, well, I can drink, and if I drink, then I can go back. How are they going to stop me from getting my weapon and breaking the law at that point?
Okay, I feel like we're getting a little bit too much into like making the plan up here on the dais. And what I would say is after tonight, you got to go in front of the commission. staff has heard this conversation, figure out some way, I just don't want people feeling like they're going through a whole lot to go to a car show, right? So if there's some way to separate out, so I got to walk a little piece, right, from the parking lot, I'm not comfortable with saying that you're going to go through people's cars. I think that's a bridge too far for me. I'd rather have the parking lot a little bit distant so that you got to walk from the parking lot over to the event.
Okay.
Because I have a right as a gun owner to leave my weapon secured in my vehicle and not have to check it in and not have, but I feel like we're just getting, this is something you and John Paul need to talk about. Have one meeting between this one and the next one, and that way we'll have those kind of ideas.
That was really to my point, and it was mainly to help you in the sense of taking that extra burden of have them check vehicles.
Okay.
That eliminates the whole checking of the vehicle, is eliminating the fact of they can't go back to their vehicles unless they're leaving for the
I
day.
understand.
So it's trying to help you keep the flow of traffic. That's an extra step security doesn't have to worry about. They're already patting down people as they go into the venue. Let them keep the weapon in the vehicle
Okay.
like a licensed owner would. And it just protects you as well.
I understand.
So we've got ambulance, traffic, security, light, noise. Any last questions before we give some direction?
Exactly.
Yes, ma'am.
Miss Kathy, is your microphone on?
Okay, my advice to you,
Yes, ma'am.
I've been doing the Watermelon Festival since 1990, is you gotta take a leap. Get all your ducks in a row like you have. It sounds like you've done due diligence. You've studied, you've researched.
Yes, ma'am.
There's always gonna be a what if. There's always gonna be, like, if somebody opens the porta potty and jams their thumb, breaks their finger,
Right.
and gets gangrene.
Very specific.
You can literally drive yourself crazy
Yes,
with the
ma'am.
what ifs.
Yes, ma'am.
What you have to do is just cover all your bases the best you can. Getting people off the highway is gonna be imperative.
Yes, ma'am.
Sounds like you've got a good plan. You'll learn, every year you do it, you'll learn something from that year, and you just pray that everything goes
Yes,
well.
ma'am.
And I'm telling, that is the God's truth. Just do the best you can. I personally, 12 years in the military, my former husband was 82nd Airborne, went through Special Forces. We were in Germany for the Cold War. Never had my vehicle searched unless I was going on post in Germany. I wouldn't go to an event if they said they were going to search my vehicle. I'd be like, I'm out.
Okay.
I carry a gun. I have a permit. It's in my vehicle all the time, except if I'm on school property or here, of course.
Yes, ma'am.
I know when we go to Disney or wherever, we get scanned when we go in. We don't have our weapons. We leave them. I mean, all you can do is do your best.
Yes,
That's
ma'am.
all you can do. And take notes for next year. And I hope that it's going to be a very successful event. And I was getting like a little anxious because I was like, who are we expecting at this party? But I know with the way things are now and with people wanting to, 1-800-BACON and call, and I understand that, I do.
Yes, ma'am.
But please don't drive yourself crazy with it. You're going to be, whatever happens. I can tell you from experience, one thing I do know is I would get with ASO,
Yes, ma'am.
DOT, and have paramedics on the scene.
Okay.
Because as soon as you don't, it's like, I'm just Irish enough to believe, like, if you say oh yeah, we won't need that,
Right.
then you do.
Yes, ma'am.
I mean, seriously. I mean, just do the best you can.
Yes, ma'am.
And take a deep breath and go for it. But it sounds like you're planning very well.
Thank you.
And you'll learn.
Yes, ma'am.
You will learn. We're still learning.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for
We
that.
are still learning since 1946. We're still learning.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
every year brings a new set of problems. So I commend you.
Thank you.
And I hope it all works well. And I hope you don't search people's vehicles.
I got you, Miss.
Because I'd be out. I'm telling you right now, I'd be like, no, I got to go.
I got you.
It'd
Thank
make
you for
me
that.
nervous to have my kids somewhere where they have to,
I will say, Mr. Woods, I
That's
do
it.
commend you for to Kathy.
yeah.
That's amazing. And this is why I'm like,
You're incredible.
wanting to help even more is because you're taking it as far as, man, I'm gonna search people's cars, and we're like,
Yeah.
whoa. So it shows the sincerity and the seriousness that you've already thought throughout this process. If I can add to her advice, man, ask the questions. This is your first event, and you want it to go successful, and you're doing so much homework. Don't be afraid to ask the questions. I'm going to throw JP under the bus, but call JP and ask him, man. I mean, he's a great resource.
He doesn't go down until 2 o'clock.
Yes, ma'am.
I want you to be successful, and I don't want you to just, I'm going to guess on this. Don't guess.
Got you.
Go ask the questions. It's not going to hurt to ask the questions, like the ambulance, the police. Just ask. What's the worst that's going to happen? You're going to get the answer, and you're going to be like, all right, well, I got to figure that step out, to Kathy's point, to try to make it better.
Don't search me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Parker,
I
she
promise
thought
you,
of
I got
another
you.
question?
I didn't
got
think
you.
of a question, I just have a suggestion for events and stuff. Consider a first aid tent in your vendor section, to have bottles of water, Band-Aids, little like emergency stuff, just in case, especially with people drinking and it's hot and, yeah.
Great idea.
Okay, so to kind of bring this to a close, right, we're going to make a motion here in a minute. That motion is going to include reaching out to ASO for a traffic unit at the end. You'll talk to them about the slow down sign at the same time. We're going to figure out the flow, John Paul, of the traffic and how we keep the parking lot separate before we get to the commission. The questions about insurance will also be answered. What does Pat have? What does the applicant have? Those kinds of things. And we had the light, so we don't have to worry about that. That's and more bathrooms. I think that's good. And I don't know who you're using for the porta potties, but you tell them the number and they tell you their recommended, number of units.
Okay.
Right, they'll say this is how many you need for those kinds of things,
Okay.
right?
Yes, ma'am.
And you're going to up the number of security on, I thought you had 30 on the contract already. You have 30 with the ability to get more.
Correct.
Right, okay. So, John Paul, I've seen you back there madly taking notes, and you guys are going to have a meeting between now and when you get to the commission to finalize all of these kinds of issues. Did I miss anything here? Okay, can I have that in the form of a motion?
I've never done this before.
I make a motion to recommend recommend approval to the commission with
I make
all
a
of those
motion to
conditions.
approve, the motion, or, I don't know what you just said.
I move to approve with conditions.
I make a motion to approve with the recommendations that we put, with the city and you today.
Okay.
My second.
All right, a motion from Ms. Parker, second from Mr. Urchin. Any comments, questions on the motion on the floor from the board?
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank y'all. Seriously. Thank you.
Any public comments or questions on the motion on the floor?
Thank you.
You sat here that whole conversation. Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Now, I believe we may have a rendering, and if so, I would close out the P and Z, and can we call like a special meeting of the HARB back to order real quick so we can get that done?
Mr. Chair, before we move on, I just want, for the Planning and Zoning Board's edification, we have a application for special use permits. It is, to the mayor's point, it's generic because they're all different. But it requires a site plan that shows everything, which we saw part of. It requires safety plans, and in my opinion, that includes security and flow of traffic. Copies of state license. It requires documentation showing that the city of Newberry is also insured party on the applicant's liability insurance. So when this goes to the commission, we will check those boxes. I'm not in a position to debate whether that's warranted or not. I just know what our application process asks for, and we can review with the city attorney's office the appropriateness of all that. But I'll also note that I don't see when this form was last updated, but this form's been in use for many, many years. It's the same one, mostly unedited. So we don't get a lot of these, so we may be a little bit out of sorts when we're presenting, but the city has a very formal process for applicants to go through to get a special use permit.
And Mike, just for my edification and the public, my assumption is that when staff stands up and recommends approval, all of those boxes are already checked. If staff is not recommending approval, or they'll say, we approve, however, we still have 3 boxes that we still have to check off before we get to the commission.
That is correct, Mr. Mayor. If we're presenting this item to you, if it is deficient in any way, we should identify every way that it's deficient so that the considering board would be aware and could formulate that in their vote on how they want to move forward with this item.
Okay, so when you guys meet, have a conversation about any deficiencies in the application so that when we get in front of the commission, that's not a holdup. Any box that hasn't been checked, it gets checked between now and then. And we'll just pretend like that was part of the motion anyway, because it was kind of wrapped up in there. Okay, so we're going to call this meeting. Don't get up out of your seats because we're going to go back to the other meeting. Any topic, let's go ahead and do our topic for member discussion. Ms. Kathy, you got anything you want to talk about?
Thank you to everyone who helped with the Watermelon Festival, because I missed last month, so especially Name and Melina with the pet pageant.
That pet pageant was awesome.
And get ready for next year. It's the 80th year. It's going to be big.
Man, I don't like it. Ms. Parker?
I don't have anything today.
Madam Polo, freshly back from Ireland, refreshed. Got anything?
One quick thing, I want to make sure everybody knows that the Greater Gainesville Chamber of Commerce has a partnership with Career Source of North Central Florida. So if you have any employees that are in need of any upskilling on the job training, there are dollars available to you to support your business while you are providing those opportunities for your employees. If you have any questions, you can contact the Chamber's website or you can reach out to me and I'll answer whatever questions you have.
Thank you, ma'am. Member Long?
Yeah. So the organization I'm in, 100 Black Men of Greater Gainesville, having our 6th annual aviation event. I posted something on my Facebook page about getting kids signed up to ages 12 to 18. So we take them up, they fly, they get to spend time with the drone pilot, teach them how to do that simulator. So the whole 9 yards. It's June 21st and 22nd of this year. And then July 31st, we're having our 2nd annual Greater Gainesville Youth Energy Academy. So pretty much GRU Duke Energy is looking for people to hire. So they pretty much put a event on. So they take you up in a bucket truck, teach you about being a lineman. And if you had the opportunity to want to work for them, there you go.
Who's the president of the 100 now?
Ray McKnight.
Ray McKnight. Can you set up a meeting with me? Well, all 3 of us? All right.
Will do.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Urchin.
Thank you. I just want to point out that the opioid task force, I don't know if you guys are aware, but we just recently received a $200,000 grant to help spread the awareness. This is a task force that was created by the city of Newberry, by their commissioners, and appointed volunteer citizens to battle this crisis that Alachua County is number 2 in the state for overdoses in opioids. So we took the bull by the horns and we really went out, campaigned to other cities. We were able to receive $200,000 grant for an awareness campaign. But not just that, the biggest goal of Newberry Task Force was to bring Rad Kids program to every school in Alachua County. And we just received a $150,000 grant to do just that. So Rad Kids will be coming to all our elementary schools in Alachua County, which is one of the biggest goals we have. Rad Kids, if you want to look it up, is spelled R-A-D, Kids, K-I-D-S. It's a great program. Anybody you ask about Rad Kids program will speak volumes of it. Anytime I've been approached, oh, you guys are bringing Rad Kids, like eyes light up because of how great that program really is for the elementary students. So I'm very proud in Newberry that we were able to start this and continue to grow this. And we're not going to stop at the county level. We are going to start going after the state and making sure that the state of Florida becomes very aware of the crisis of the opioid addiction right now. So thank you.
Excellent work. Ms. Parker.
No, I'm sorry. There are some things going on around the community I just wanted to bring attention to. There is a pancake breakfast this Saturday to support Brian Wayne or Brian Sapp. He was shot in a mugging in, I believe it's Tennessee. So he's got some recovery, so the Lions Club is holding a breakfast
Best
for
pancakes
him.
around.
Also, the summer splash days with the Newberry Main Street organization are June 14th, July 12th, and August 9th. So it's going to be over here in downtown. Come out, bring your kids. There's a big water hose. I believe the fire department comes out, and there's some music and fun and maybe some snacks. So it's a good way to come out and cool off.
Awesome. Good catch. I just wanted to let everybody know we had our very first inaugural meeting of the Newberry Historic Association. A lot of good energy, a lot of good work happening. I see some overlap, especially with the historic board here. So once we kind of get that structure figured out and we get people assigned some roles, I think that they'll probably be coming to make a presentation to you guys at some point in time. That's all for me. Mr. Attorney, you got anything?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Manager?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I do. Just wanted to recognize our Director of Planning and Economic Development, who has served the city for more than 10 years in that capacity, accomplished many, many great things over that period of time. I was telling the commission that not a single person within the city of Newberry has written more staff reports, has spent more time in the podium in front of the commission, including me. Dallas, who handles our finance stuff, it's a high volume of presentations, but the planning department has led that charge for the last 10 years. And I know you know it, but if you look around North Central Florida, Newberry is uncommon in the level of professionalism that it offers, and in the pace of government and what its city is doing, undertaking. You guys are aware that we have a very forward-thinking city commission. They're very focused on making sure we are well-planned for the future, and at the heart of that is our planning department. And our planning director has been there every step of the way, met the challenges, brought back the information that the commission has requested. So, over this last decade, if there are any accolades for the city of Newberry, at the staff level, it starts with our planning department under Brian's leadership. So he's been a big contributor to many big things in small town USA, and we wish him the very best. I wish him the very best moving forward. He'll be sorely missed. I just wanted to take a last moment to say that to you guys and ask you if you would take a minute to visit with Brian and wish him well in his future endeavors. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Just briefly, it's been an honor and privilege to work with all of you, as well as all the elected officials in Newberry and the rest of the staff of the city of Newberry. Mike's right, and this is an uncommon group of people we have here and something special going on. And so I also wish Newberry the best in the next few years. There's an awful lot that's going to come your way.
See, and Brian, with every standing ovation that you get, you have to come back for one more meeting. You see, because I thought it was the last meeting, and Brian, he just can't get enough of Newberry. So he says he's leaving, but I don't know. He just keeps coming back. So, no, Brian, we do appreciate. Yeah, we do appreciate everything. All the years of service has been amazing. So, thank you so much. Okay, we're going to adjourn this meeting and we're going to go back. So, meeting adjourned. Now we're going to go back. You guys don't have to stay for this one, round two, if you don't want to, right? And we're going to call back the historic, the HARB back into session. And just like we took a break, so now, John Paul, we're still in quasi-judicial. Now we're back in that presentation, and at the end of that presentation, we have this.
Yes,
There we go. All right.
which were provided to me to present to you tonight.
And-
So
That's so much better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to say, as we go through the slides, if there's any explanations needed, if you're not comfortable, I can contribute. But
yeah, do you mind?
sure.
Okay, awesome.
Oh.
even better,
Yeah,
we have
man himself.
we have the City Hall project manager who can give you way more detail than I could.
Good evening.
Okay.
For those that don't know me, Travis Parker, Capital Projects Director. We do have a short presentation on the Newberry City Hall project. This first page will kind of give you an idea of our existing facilities around and kind of how we wanted to tailor the new building to somewhat appear to be similar to the buildings that are downtown and something that's adjacent to us. If you'll notice, municipal building, the church, the arches, that type of rock facade, those type things kind of stuck out to the board, and that's what we went with. Just to give you an idea of like our vision and how we got here, we wanted to provide something that was fresh and new, but also to focus on the traditional design. Like I said, that when you look at this building, you don't want to look next door and see a completely different building. You want this to tie into the municipal building and our complex to be very similar. Again, the historic precedent, you'll notice these buildings are all very similar. If you were to take the church house and you were to put stone on it, you'd have a hard time distinguishing that they weren't all three on the same campus. So we had a ton of different revisions, and our last concept is the one that you see here. This is the building, as you're looking at it, that's facing north. So that will be facing First Avenue. And something specific about it is it's actually got a little bit of an angle on the front because remember there's twin pairs coming. So traffic will be headed westbound that way. So you'll see that we kept a lot of the elements. The images they don't do a great job of showing some of the brickwork and stuff like that, but you'll see the rock and the arches and the color concept looks very similar in a way to our existing City Hall.
Travis, while you're on there, what was the final decision for the outside? City seal, city logo?
For the outside is going to be the logo, the
Okay.
grass logo, and then in the commission chambers will be the seal itself.
Okay.
This image doesn't depict, but we've added a little bit of rock on the west side, the northwest side, behind where you see the flags, to kind of, give it a balance. It's another image. This is facing and looking west. You'll see the drive-through teller window. You'll also see, again, the rock facade, and you'll see the rock wainscot on the bottom. Again, you can also see the existing building behind it, and that was something that's important to kind of tie it in, so when you're looking at it, they generally look the same. This is the connection that will be the existing City Hall. If you'll notice on the left side of this image, that is our existing drive-through window that will turn into a entryway to the new building. And the tie-in, I think, actually does a really good job of connecting it to this existing building and the municipal building. If you're looking this direction from the municipal building, you're going to have a hard time telling. You'll know it's a new building, but it is really similar. Yes. So,
Thank you.
so there's a mural there. But again, this is facing east, looking at the building in that direction.
Thank you.
And that's it.
Okay, so now yes.
I feel so good. I have one suggestion though.
Yes, ma'am.
One, because the city seal is on the outside of the building in the rendering. Either way, it's going to be what it's going to be. I'm not going to change anything. However, I would like to suggest that the city seal be on the outside and maybe the city logo on the inside, because the city logo may change in 50 years, but the city seal will remain the same.
Right.
True.
That was a comment that I was going to make as well.
Yeah.
But I like both of them, but the one
Yes,
will
ma'am.
remain forever.
No, I'll make it really difficult for you. I'm going to say that I want the city seal on the outside, to Kathy's point, because the city seal is not going to change. The grass thing is going to change, I don't know how many times before the building's going to be restructured.
I would agree.
To that point, it is obviously a sign, is signage. So signage can also change as well. But point
And
taken.
the policy and I remembered it as the logo was going on the outside, but we just hadn't updated the rendering. So the city seal, we're trying to reserve for official places, official documents. The city logo, we're trying to have as the branding that goes across. So we've gone through a lot of that conversation with the city sign, with City Hall, with all of those kinds of things, and that's kind of, after hours of conversation, that's where we have settled, is trying to hold the seal for inside the chamber. But your comments are duly noted, and they go along with everyone else who is all over the place on this issue. So, not trying to discount anyone, but I'm just telling you, everyone has a different opinion about this, Ms. Polo.
How is it being affixed to the building? Is it just going to be like a freestanding sign to that point? Like, obviously, the seal you would embed in the precast or whatnot, right? But
The seal would be similar to what's behind you. It would be a precast, but there's studs on the backside of it. Drill the hole, epoxy it.
That was my only question. Thank you.
Okay, so now remember, we're still in quasi-judicial. That was staff's report and recommendation. I've not been contacted by anybody wishing to claim a third-party intervener status. Any members of the public wish to speak to this agenda item? Now that you see the vision, doesn't it look beautiful? All right. Would you like to cross-examine yourself?
I do not.
No? Okay, that's all right. Members, decision-making body, do you have any questions? Any more questions? Okay. Would you like to make a final argument?
No, sir.
Okay. Mr. Attorney, would you please advise decision-making bodies for the below factual findings?
Competent and substantial evidence, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. We'll enter into deliberations. If there are no deliberations, I'll have a motion to approve.
I have a question on the lighting.
Hang on one second. Resolution CA 2024-01/CA 24-01. And,
It's a deliberation.
hang on, let me get the motion since I just asked. Do I have a motion?
So move.
I have a motion from Member Long,
Second.
seconded by Member Polo. Now, any questions, comments on the motion on the floor? Member Urchin.
I thought we were in deliberation before the motion.
What it said in deliberations, and he started talking once I asked for the motion. So now we're in the motion. Questions?
I was really concerned just making sure that the lighting structure on the outside is in continuity with like what other buildings in downtown.
You guys picked it, actually.
Okay, that's what I was just making sure. I was like,
Yeah.
because I couldn't see it from the rendering, because it's obviously a mock-up,
Yeah.
it's not the actual.
The street lighting that will be on campus will be the exact same street lighting that will be on State Road
Right.
26 and First Avenue.
Right, that was my only thing, was making sure that it's all of a sudden, City
All
of Newberry
blends.
has different lights.
Okay. Any other comments, questions on the motion on the floor from the dais? Public comments, questions on the motion on the floor? Seeing none, how did you like your first meeting?
It's great.
All right.
I learned a lot.
Wonderful. I love it. Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passed unanimously. I want to thank everybody for doing 3 meetings tonight. You guys rock. We are adjourned.